Okay, let's continue to do what chemists do. That's just take different chemicals, different elements, mix them together, see what happens. And like you should, I'm going to follow the procedures on the learning platform. Step 1, don't worry about measuring the mass of each metal element. Just ensure that metal pieces are small enough they can fit into this test tube. So I will choose iron. So step 2, carefully put the metal into your test tube and ensure that the test tube remains upright. So I just ripped off a piece of steel wool iron, and I'm going to kind of insert it into my test tube. I'm going to take my pipette and simply just jam it down there, push it down there. Okay, awesome. Step 3, squirt about 2 to 4 milliliters of hydrochloric acid, or really enough to cover the metal. It's always good practice to add liquid to solids. Okay, so let me go ahead and do step 3. So you can see the little graduations or the lines on this pipette to help you determine the volume of acid. So that's a little over 2 milliliters right there. Again, just squirt that in. And that should be enough. Step 4, let the experiment run for 10 to 30 minutes. And for the aluminum, what you'll need to do is actually take a pinch of salt, table salt, otherwise known as sodium chloride, and just drop it into the hydrochloric acid solution. Then take your pipette and just squeeze up the solution, squirt it back out, squeeze up the solution, squirt it back out. That's just a great way to mix it and therefore dissolve the sodium chloride. And the reason why sodium chloride can actually etch off the aluminum oxide layer that forms on top of the elemental aluminum, which can prevent the hydrochloric acid from getting to the aluminum. So a little bit of salt might make this reaction more visible. So I can tell you these 3 metals will likely be a little bit less reactive and therefore kind of less exciting than the magnesium. So it may not produce enough gas for it to make sense to run a hydrogen test. So you can try, but even if it comes up negative, it doesn't mean it's not producing gas, only because the concentration of gas that gets collected in the test tube may just not be high enough for any hydrogen test to work. So my advice or my thought or suggestion is to look for other signs of a reaction, and it's going to take some keen observing on your part, over a long period of time, like 10 or more minutes. So you can let this run, and maybe if you have another test tube, you can do your zinc or aluminum. Step 5 is record your observations in your data table, paying particular attention for signs that a chemical reaction is taking place. Okay, so I'll see you in the landing video.